Well, new details tonight on why some 400,000 Americans may see their IRS refund checks grabbed by the government. Back in 2011, Congress lifted the 10-year statute of limitations on money owed to Uncle Sam. Oh, they did it so quietly, and now people are paying the bills. So now debts going back decades are considered fair game for the tax man. You got to explain this. J. Christian Adams with me. He's a former Justice Department attorney and legal editor of PJ Media. This is unbelievable, Chris. It's not, okay, it's one thing if they find out when I'm in college I missed a payment, right? I didn't pay what I owed the feds. It's not that. It could be my mom, my dad, my grandpa. They are coming after children, like the distant relatives of people who may or may not have paid their bills, and they're taking it out of our refunds?
Yeah, imagine it, Megyn. You're sitting at home, you're wondering where your tax refund is. You go to the mailbox and you get a letter from the IRS. And it says, 40 years ago, your parents got a disability payment that we happened to overpay. So this is all the government's fault in the first place. We paid your parents too much, so now we're taking it out of your tax refund. So this is this crazy situation where the government's messed up. Now they're abusing taxpayers who had nothing to do with it for something that was 40 years old. The government doesn't even have the original records. They just sort of have a line item that says, they owe us some money, so we're taking it.
Right.
They can't even produce the original records.
So how are you supposed to defend yourself against the feds and prove that they didn't overpay your mom or your dad?
Yeah, the deck is stacked against you. First of all, it's the government, but secondly, you can't defend yourself. You have no way of proving it because you didn't even know it happened. You were a child. Some of these debts are from the early 1970s, the 1960s. You didn't even know that your parents got a disability check, and suddenly you get a bill. You don't get your tax refund. So there's no way to defend it. It's a classic abuse by Washington, D.C. of regular Americans who don't know how to do anything about it.
Right. And then the people that this has happened to so far are complaining. They're suing, saying this is not legal, but they're complaining that they feel that now there's been retaliation against them. That, you know, can you imagine if you start a fight with the feds over where your refund is and they're claiming this, how long it's going to take you to get it and how many legal fees you're going to have to pay in order to fight that fight?
And some of these dollar amounts are a couple hundreds of dollars. So we're not talking about earth-shattering figures. And we don't even know why this law got repealed. That's the really interesting story.
Because there used to be a 10-year cutoff on bringing such a claim, but whoops, they got rid of that.
And that's why you have 10-year cutoffs, because you lose records. You can't prove anything. But they got rid of this cutoff in Congress. Congress says, oh, it wasn't us, it was the Obama administration. The Obama administration says it wasn't us, it was Congress. And so nobody even knows who's responsible for it. But what it does mean is that people aren't getting the refunds because of an abusive, stupid federal government that doesn't even know how to do its own business.
You know what? At this point, okay, let's find out who is responsible. Let's continue pursuing that. But that's no excuse. The administration should say, okay, we don't know who did it. Maybe it was us. Maybe it was Congress. We're going to stop it. We're not going to make it. And there's a story in the Washington Post that broke the story. 1960, little Grice, Mary Grice, she was 4. Her father died, left her mother with 5 children. Now, all these years later, Social Security claims it overpaid someone in her family. It's not sure who. Back in 1977, and after 37 years of silence, they're going after her, and she is suing. But the problem is the government now needs to look at Ms. Grice and say, you know what, never mind. This is ridiculous. Odds of that happening?
0, because she owes money, and so the government will come after her. Look, this is an administration that loves to suspend laws when they're inconvenient and not enforce certain laws. Let's see if they do it here.
Unreal. J. Christian Adams, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Megyn.
Can you imagine how ticked off you'd be if that happened? Let us know if it happens to you. You can follow me on Twitter at Megyn Kelly.